Hi everyone and welcome to how to close up holes after you've been drilling them. My name's Alan and today I'm going to talk you through some of the things that you can do to seal up a hole after you've drilled it. You may have learned how to drill a hole to put a cable through or something in order to provide a service for a customer or an individual. But what's really important is after you've done that work that you close up the hole to prevent any moisture getting into the cavity or even worse, further into the property to create some damp. Now, here I've got two breeze blocks to simulate an external wall. This one on your left shows a nice clean exit hole. Sometimes when using hammer action on your drill, you may inadvertently burst the brick on the outside, creating a much larger hole. Now, I'm just going to turn these round to show some of the cable clipping and what you might be looking at once you've fitted the cable. Now, what you can see here is the nice clean hole on my left and the burst brick on your right. This cable route and style is industry standard for a lot of companies. One thing you may note is that the clips are on the underside of the cable, the nails. The reason for this is because through weather degradation, these nails actually support the cable for a longer period of time. So when you are doing clipping, as it's known, make sure that you have the nail on the underside of the cable and make sure you conform to the spacing as taught by your trainer. Also, what's really important is this thing here. As you know, it's called the drip loop. Again, that is industry standard. And the reason why that's really important is because it ensures that any moisture or water that runs down the cable drops off at the bottom and not directly into the hole. But there's something I want to mention about that. When you're sealing up these holes, you may be able to order a thing called a blast plate or a cup plate. It looks like this and they come in different colours. Things to note about them is they also have 4 small holes on the top corners. The reason for this is in some scenarios you may have to fit the plate over the hole and you might have to use some of the nails from these clips to pierce into the corners to give it a better fixing. Obviously, different types of the outside of a building will dictate if and when you need to do that. Also, this drip loop, before you start to clip the cable and you feel you need to use one of these, make sure that you temporarily hold it over the hole to make sure that this does not foul with the cable over here. Otherwise, you're going to end up with this after you've fitted the cable, which is creating more work for yourself. Now, you will also be able to order a silicone gun. The silicone you can order through your stores, I would assume, and also the gun that provides the service for the silicone can also be ordered. I have here standard silicone, waterproof silicone, in a gun correctly fitted. You may note that there's a cap on the top, which is important for after you've used it to reseal. What's really important about once you use this gun, when you apply pressure to the grip, so the silicone comes out the end, make sure the minute you've got enough out the end, you instantly push this part here. This releases the pressure on the back spring, otherwise the silicone will continue to come out the hole. Now, I'm just going to show you a little tip. On the holes that you've drilled, which are smaller, what you can do is you can put a small bead of silicone, okay? It's up to you if you want to use the plate, but what you can do for aesthetic reasons, and the customer may prefer it, is you are able to put a small bead of silicone, and I'll show you here, onto the hole at the top, inject into the hole, release the pressure, then if you're wearing gloves, I have here, you can see there's a bead of silicone. What you can do is actually wet the end of your finger, a little bit of saliva, and what that does then, if you touch the silicone and pat it onto the brick, that is the hole sealed. Nice and tidy. If you've got a burst brick, what you'll need to do is obviously put more silicone. Remember where the plate goes, and what you need to do is make a nice firm bead up, across and down, and obviously in the hole itself. Then release the plate at the back. If you want to, quickly put the cap on the top, because remember, you don't want silicone getting onto your tools of equipment. Then picking up the blast plate, gently massage, rub, push it on gently, and you can actually see the silicone behind spreading. Okay. Then obviously this glove, you can just tidy it up with your finger, and then once you're happy with the plate location, to stop silicone getting anywhere, personally I'd remove the glove, and you've captured the silicone inside the glove, and you can dispose of it safely. I'm just going to come on to what to do on the inside of the property in a moment, but if you're happy with what you've seen so far, this is the way that I would advise you to fit these cables and seal up the holes. Thank you, and I'll speak to you in a minute. Hi everyone, just to sort of round up the information I'm giving you about sealing up these holes, I want to talk to you a little bit about inside the property. Now this is just to replicate the inside of a plasterboard wall or a plastered wall. The cable comes in the hole, and it may be a telephone cable, it might be an Ethernet cable, it might be many different types of cable. But what's important is how do you make this hole look nice and tidy and nice and clean. Now at the minute it's about making sure when you drill out you have a nice clean hole. However, there may be opportunity in the future to get a hold of things like these. Now they're known as bushing clips, but they come in different sizes. But the nice thing about them is it helps to dress the hole. So all you do with them, this size is good. You might have to cut them back a little bit depending on the cable and the hole itself. But what you can do is literally slide it over the cable, and what it does is when you push it down the cable, you can actually push it into the hole, and then what it does is it then gives you that dressed off look, which allows you to then obviously clip the cable nice and neat, and the customer's happy. Now, another thing to mention about the cables on the outside. What's really important is to make sure that you understand the level of the ground before you drill out. It's really important in case you drill underneath a thing called the DPC, which is a damp proof course. You normally see it at the bottom of buildings, and it looks like a thin black line. You need to make sure when you drill that you come out of the external wall above that line. And also when you're clipping the cable, you need to make sure that you don't clip any of the clips into that line, or definitely below it. You tend to find the mortar is particularly hard anyway below that. That is integral to the damp course of the property. So look it up and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, or have a look on the outside of your own building and you'll see the damp course at the bottom. Well, thanks very much for watching. If you do have any questions, please contact me. I'm more than happy to discuss this further. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this little session. So you take care. Bye-bye.